Come on. Okay, we're live. Testing, testing. Today on Quality Time with Family Ties, we learn... Okay, so Bryant, just a little editing note. Bring the volume down and make it seem like there's dead air. For the timing until it gets to the end of the song, little shalalala thing. And, you do your editing magic, but use some of that dead air because we didn't learn anything.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Corey.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Quality Time with Family Ties. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Pepper, speaking to you from less smoky Los Angeles, California.
Yay!
But lovely. How's the weather in New York, Paul Packler?
It's chilly. I went to the Army-Navy store today, and I bought 2 coats.
Which did you? Which Army-Navy store did you go to? Where's your Army-Navy store?
It's in the Village. It's on 8th Street, right above Washington Square Park.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that was there, like they were playing like Vietnam era music. It was all Creedence Clearwater Revival. They played like Fortunate Son, and I was like, oh man, this is great. And the guy lives in the Village, and I was like, I wanted to be you when I grew up. Like I wanted to just live in the Village my whole life.
And you got 2 coats, jackets?
Coats. I got a pea coat.
Uh-huh.
And then I got this gray sort of like Russian type, very form-fitted, like 3/4 length jacket that it's
what you're wearing right now, is it?
I look so good in that jacket. Oh yeah, it's warm enough to wear right now.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so
that's wonderful.
It's a great story. I had a great time, and they were both on sale.
And I just want you to know that that story is substantially more story than we got from the 2 episodes that we're going to talk about on Family Ties tonight.
We have an hour-long clip show, you guys. Aren't you excited?
An hour-long clip show. I know when I discovered upon sitting down to write my notes and watch it, that it was an hour-long clip show, my first thought was I wanted to kill myself. And then in the hour-long clip show, I realized it wasn't that bad because I fast-forwarded through almost everything because I refused to comment on that which I have commented before.
Yes, and I said the same thing. You texted me. We're giving all of the details behind-the-scenes stuff, so that way we're filling up time of this episode. You texted me while I was at the gym, and I was like, oh, great, a clip show. That means I get to fast-forward too. And what usually happens is you take notes. I don't tell you that I never take notes anymore. And
but
so...
Yeah, this time I didn't. I wrote a few. It's very, very white, my piece of paper. It's very... there's not a lot to say. I didn't look to see ultimately how many episodes this season has, but it looks like the 2 additional ones that they bought from Gary David Goldberg is this horrendous clip show. And for those of you who listened to us before, the last time, you'll tell me if I'm wrong, the last time they did a clip show, it was exactly the same setup, except it was Ellen and Alex and telling Ellen stories of the past. And now it's Lauren interviewing the Keatons, and it's the exact same setup.
Yes, it is the outsider girlfriend learning about the Keaton clan. But I'll say this, it was actually better constructed than any clip show we've watched so far. This is the best one.
And what makes you say that?
Well, let me just quickly, what is the title of this episode? This is season 6, episode 14.
And 15, right? So it would be The American Family. And I don't know what year the PBS special The American Family aired on PBS. The Loud Family. Do you remember that, Paul, or are you too young for that?
I'm too young for it. I only know it because of the Albert Brooks movie that was parodying it. What was that called?
I know exactly what movie you're talking about. I just can't tell you the name of it.
It's really funny. If you're out there, it's a hilarious thing. It's kind of its time in some ways, but it's Albert Brooks just at his comedy best. And
isn't Albert Brooks always slightly ahead of his time? Always?
Yeah.
Pretty much almost everything he does was slightly ahead of its time.
Yeah, and so the American Family PBS thing was the first, more or less, reality TV that ever existed.
It was. It was the first. They followed a family around, and the husband and wife ended up divorcing while the documentary was being made, and their eldest son ended up coming out of the closet
During the show. Like, it was on TV. He was one of the first openly gay people on TV. It was crazy.
It was crazy for television.
Yeah.
So they called this The American Family. You know what? It would have been interesting if they had done it in a documentary format. That would have been a much more interesting show.
In a world where they would have even tried to do such a thing, Family Ties would be such a better show.
But I know it is laughable to even say they should have tried being creative, because they're
missing some cinema verite.
Yes, it is what it is. It's a clip show, and it's Lauren's project for school, where she's going to interview a typical American family.
Let me just say that she's an undergrad, or perhaps I want to say undergrad, in the psychology department. Psychology has nothing to do with interviewing people in a family.
Nothing.
No. It's I mean, there is group therapy and stuff like that, so maybe it's that, but this seems a lot more like a sociological project.
And every utterance of Alex's in this episode, and in the first episode and the second episode, in the whole hour, every utterance of his during each interstitial bit is sociopathic. He has moment after moment in the show where it's like, what about me? I mean, it's gotten to the point where he just sort of sits there going like, me, back to me, let's talk about me, it's about me.
Yeah, they have this down to the essence of that, where because there was so little time that we spent with the family, and he was like the antagonist of the whole episode.
He was, because it was in everyone's eyes but Alex. It was about the Keaton family, and Alex seems to think that every anecdote should have been about Alex. Now, of course, we know in the Family Ties oeuvre, everything is all about Alex almost all the time.
Right.
But occasionally on the show, they showed a clip that had nothing to do with Alex. In fact, a lot of the clips, and this was their worst idea that made this just horrendous, a lot of the clips had to do with early Andy stuff.
That was an interesting choice. The first half of the show is all about Andy clips.
Right. And as we've discussed, or certainly as I've ranted and raved over and over again, Andy didn't learn to act until the beginning of this season.
Yes.
So anything prior to the season, and then in this episode, there was nothing from this season. Everything prior to the season that features Andy is god awful.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. And so that's interesting that they made that artistic choice. But the one thing I want to say though, Corey, is even in the Tracy Pollan episode, which is the exact same model for what they're doing here, I say again that they do this better because the way that they tell the stories and the fact that what's her name? Courtney Cox's character,
Lauren Miller.
The fact that Lauren is actually directing the clips by saying, okay, now that we've talked about that, can we talk about this? And then as they come back from clips, the scene references what just happened, and then they talk about it a little bit more, which makes them think of something else. And so, like, this is the most organic clip show where it actually follows a train of thought.
You're right. There has been past clip shows where it seemed as though the people who wrote the interstitial bits had no clue of what the upcoming or past clip was. It's as if they were separated into different rooms, and it was almost like a bad gag. Let's see if we could put this together and make it make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Who really did that? William Burroughs, where he would cut words out and then throw it in the air, and then that's how he would write a poem?
It wouldn't work. And boy, so we have clips at the very beginning of the show in the first half hour of the show. A lot of clips are early Andy clips. And of course, every time we have an early Andy clip, we always have Alex overstepping his bounds for the most part.
Yes. And that becomes, like, first they talk about Andy, and then they talk about, it goes into what you were just saying, that Alex oversteps his bounds of being a parent. There were some loaded questions during one of the interstitials where Lauren says, "Does having a baby change things? How do you guys raise him? What is what's the difference about raising a baby again?" And no one spoke up for Jennifer. Jennifer didn't say, "You know what? I've been taking care of this kid by myself for years now."
I thought that. I thought that also. I thought, how come nobody has mentioned, including Jennifer, the fact that clearly she's raising the child?
Yeah, it's like they have some, like, kid that's chained up in the basement that if only one of them would speak up about it, and they're like, "Oh, do you hear that crying from the basement?" And everyone's just like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." And one of them is just like shaking with fear about admitting it. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to eat up time.
In spite of the fact that we're just trying to eat up time, what's truly amazing to me about this whole thing is that we just see Alex in all of these interstitial bits speaking about himself. At one point, Andy says something about Andy being the center of attention, and Alex's response is he has, "Oh, no, you're not the center of attention. I'm the center of attention." It's like, hey, Alex, you're competing with your 4-year-old brother. It's not attractive.
No, and that's the thing. He really, after having a deep love for someone, the rebound relationships don't go as well. Because even though you think you're ready for a new relationship, you're probably not. And even in the writing of this relationship of Lauren and Alex, you don't feel any real chemistry between them.
It's almost standard sitcom banter between them. And even her feelings for the family, it doesn't look like the family has any real affection for her. It doesn't look like she has.
But you've had relationships like that, right?
Of course. It's just, okay, it is what it is, and whatever.
I love that. It's so real. Their complete apathy toward each other, and everyone with Courtney Cox is so...
And how they made it clinical, because that's really the crux of their relationship. It's a very clinical thing. So tell me, what's it like? Oh, they constantly, in this episode, in the interstitial bits, they're constantly doing things like, what's the most important thing about family? Honesty, 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 honest.
That was Andy, the deep voice one.
Yes. Later on, they asked the question about, why do you think you've always been with this family is so loving? We can talk to each other about anything. And what's really funny is they don't talk to each other about anything. They hide things from each other just like every other family hides things from each other.
Yeah, in that regard, it's really funny that how her whole project is talking to a typical American family, and like they say that like there's quotes around it, or it's underlined or italicized, and it's like, what a gross thing to like identify yourself as, and that like the show relishes how normal they are, and it's like, that's weird. I wouldn't watch any show where it's like about how normal people are.
Well, it's funny. Alex is the only one who objects to that. Where he says, "Well, I'm not typical." He goes with the typical American family, and Alex goes, "I'm not typical. I'm not a typical person."
Yeah,
you're right. Most people aren't sociopaths like you, Alex. You're not typical.
Right. He swings way far the other way.
And then we go into this Andy and Alex at the preschool scene when he drops, and then Alex, spends time like interviewing the teacher about her teaching techniques and shit like that.
Yeah.
And that scene is about 13 minutes long. And I swear to God, it takes us to the end of the first episode. That's the end of the first episode.
Yeah.
They eat up so much time with these clips.
Yeah. And yeah, we have like 3 commercial breaks that take us through the hour. And this is as far as we go, because we've gone through maybe 3 or 4 clips at this point, But
yes, that's exactly right. There were 2 clips in the first segment. Then there was a commercial, and then there's really just 1 clip in the second segment
that eats up the whole time of what would be another run to a commercial break.
Together 2 different segments from an entire episode. So I think I timed it at one point. It's 13 minutes of a 22-minute episode.
That's crazy. And again, like it's what we've
running
experience with other clip shows is that the Family Ties thing, they just don't know how to edit things. It's just just cut it from the beginning to the end, put on any sort of information at the top that we could put in a voiceover to explain the setup, and that's it. They just let it play.
And the only thing I can say about the second half, the second half hour of the show, or the second half of the hour-long clip show, is they try and vary it by bringing Skippy in, which, at least I give them credit for. Hey, that's what you're supposed to use Skippy for, is to get us away from the regulars for a minute or two. But they spent the entire second half of the show with Skippy.
And you know what? When they bring Skippy in, we'll figure out organically where we'll put in our commercial break, because right now I feel like we've been going for 7 minutes at this point. But when they bring Skippy in and he tells his anecdote about being adopted and Alex helping him through and all that stuff, I believe that was our lost episode, Corey, where we had some recording issues, and so that episode doesn't exist on Quality Time with Family Ties.
Are you serious?
Yeah, the clip that they picked was from the adoption episode, which I don't think we got to lay down.
Wow, that's crazy. I do remember that we had technical issues with one episode that never got aired.
Yeah.
Did we recorded that episode though, but it never aired?
Exactly. There was a problem with the connection and it was all static.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so funny because on my paper, where I usually have it totally filled with notes, I really just have it scribbled like during a clip, it just says like nothing happens. And then like during the next clip, it just says like nothing happens. And then during the third one, it's like nothing happens. Nothing really happens during this whole thing.
No.
I can't being a fan of the show and watching it.
This is 1987. I think before we used to talk about how people didn't used to really have VCRs. And so these clip shows with Family Ties, because they're such long clips themselves, I'm guessing it's like, oh, maybe you missed these episodes the first time through. Here's an opportunity to see 3 episodes in one. Maybe? I don't know. But like, it's weird that they had so many clip shows on this show and that the clips were so long.
Mm-hmm. Just dreadful.
And the clips they chose weren't very good, from what I remembered of them.
Not very good at all.
No,
I just I fast forwarded through a whole bunch of them, and and a whole bunch of them. We were talking, I think before we started to record today, about how Steven seems, in retrospect, Steven occasionally seems like he's a psychopath.
Yeah, he definitely, Alex didn't fall far from the tree.
It's like he's competitive, he's uptight, he's not as liberal as you'd think he was.
He's a chauvinist.
Yeah. What did I say to you? That sometimes I think that he was just being a liberal and a feminist just so he could get into Elise's pants.
Yeah, I mean, that feels like it, because he's so willing to throw out all of his ideals at the first sign of trouble.
He just immediately just goes crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's too bad. Because I remembered Stephen Keaton so fondly.
As do I. I remember I equated him with Phil Donahue at the time, as I thought that was the role model, like an Alan Alda, a Phil Donahue, somebody who was a champion of women's rights.
Yeah. Okay, so this is something I wanted to talk about to get us completely off track. So Lauren's character in this episode of being like where she is interviewing the family in order to get the plot moving.
Mm-hmm.
Is it reminds me of the movie Chaplin or Jackie, the new Natalie Portman, as of last year, the year before, where you have terribly written interrogator characters that are like the hanger or the narrative device. Mm-hmm. I love movies like that because they're so bad. Like they have all of the stuff that's in between. It can be good and interesting, but it never feels organic. The fictional character they create, so that way the main character can tell their life story. You always feel how writery it feels.
It does.
Anyway,
are you comparing that in this case to the interstitial bits and how flat they are in this episode? That they don't go in.
But like Courtney Cox's non-acting fits in. Like she's not doing anything different than she would normally do, so it feels fine. But that movie, Jackie, did you watch Jackie?
I've never seen Jackie.
It's on HBO Go right now. If you have the chance to check it out.
I have. Yeah, I like Natalie Portman a lot.
She was amazing. So the film starts, and I was like totally on board. And I was like, wait a second, is this a fictional interrogator person? Played by that guy that was in Almost Famous, the guitarist.
Oscar Isaac.
No, different. Almost Famous, the Cameron Crowe movie from.
Oh, the Cameron Crowe. Oh, not by the kid.
No, the
guitar player.
Yeah.
Billy Crudup.
Thank you, Susanna. Yeah, Billy Crudup. So he plays that character, and Natalie Portman's amazing. She's so good. She sounds like her. She acts like her. And then the script just falls apart. They keep doing the same scenes over and over, and it's the same theme of like her triumphing through adversity, and it starts off really strongly. Her performance is so great. It's like going to see a friend of yours in a terrible play, but they're really good in it, and you're like, I wish this play were better because you're so good in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like. I'm trying, Corey. I'm trying to find things to talk about.
I'm just going to sit here and have uncomfortable, awkward moments.
Why?
How is this night different from all other nights?
Well, that's past Hanukkah. Because I just figured it'll be fun to go, this show. Because, I'll give you a reason why. Okay, here's a good reason why.
People are going to want to listen to this, Corey. They want to listen.
Okay. Because if I have, let's tell Scott just to go to this section. Like, Corey doesn't even know what to say anymore. Scott, we really need you. We desperately need you. But Scott, you're guilty. That's like, Scott, I watched a fucking hour-long clip show, and what the fuck are you doing tonight? What are you doing? Playing Secret Santa with your cohorts at school?
Oh boy, yeah, they're doing the white elephant exchange.
The white elephant exchange. I hate those.
Yeah, I got last year. I went to a Hanukkah party, and I got Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, like a special edition DVD of it.
Oh, was that written by Roger Ebert as well?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one that he wrote. And I'd never seen a Russ Meyer movie before. He liked boobs, apparently.
Russ Meyer was a fan of the large-breasted natural woman.
Yes. And the movie is crazy. The script, it's very funny and weird. I would definitely like to check out more Russ Meyer movies. Like, he was in the 60s. It was like him and the other guy that started Jack Nicholson's career. What's his name?
I know what you're saying. Who was the guy? Not Ed Wood. Not Ed.
No, the B movie. Ed Wood, obviously, but like
Roger Corman. That's who it is.
Thank you. So yeah, Roger Corman. And why can't I remember names anymore?
Dementia.
That must be it. Oh no. So anyway, yeah, Roger Corman and Russ Meyer are definitely guys that I would like to watch more of their crappy movies.
Mm-hmm. Because some of those crappy movies are actually quite entertaining.
Yes. And did you see the new Pee-wee's, not Big Adventure, what is it, Big Holiday that he did on Netflix a couple of years ago?
I did see that.
And they did the Russ Meyer thing with maybe from Arrested Development, was one of the girls. Yeah, that was great. I love that movie. That movie's so good.
Pee-wee?
Yeah, the new one with Joe Manganiello.
Yeah, but Manganiello? The Sonia Vergara's man.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Joe Manganiello, my wife says.
Thank you.
Oh, you're good, Susanna.
He went to Carnegie Mellon. He's friends with some people that I know.
Susanna's come up with 3 things. I say we just chuck Scott forever at this point and just go with Susanna.
I think I'm fine with that. I think we have a quorum. We could make that vote.
Yeah, because she ain't gonna watch this piece of shit. She ain't gonna watch
Are you talking about the clip show where he goes to preschool and he didn't double check to see if that was Jennifer's episode?
Oh, really?
Duh.
Is she the? She's not the
played
teacher.
A preschool teacher at some point or another.
No, but not in this episode.
Yeah, that
That's
must be
Jennifer.
later.
That's no. It was earlier actually. It's already. Wait.
You said the clips were all.
Oh, you're right. Oh, you're right. I don't know. It might have been Jennifer.
Jennifer was a preschool teacher in an episode?
A friend of Susanna's, Jennifer Salt, who is a renowned producer and writer now, was an actress at the time. And she was in one episode of, and played Family Ties and was Andrew's preschool teacher.
And was instructed, I believe, not to try to be funny.
And was instructed not, don't worry, she wasn't,
Right.
if that was her. If that was her direction, if her direction was, you're taking my 3 lines of notes away from me. Don't pull you clean up the table and take my notes away.
Sorry.
All it says
is
Skippy visits. That's all it says. But Jennifer was instructed not to try and be funny.
Wow. Why? Because she was going to upstage Michael J. Fox?
Yes.
Yes, that was the reason.
Holy shit. We are breaking news, you guys.
I don't know. I mean, I
hearsay.
assume that was the
Yes.
The reason.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Oh man, we're now we're outing Michael J. Fox. He's not as nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be the New York Times. We're gonna have to stop doing this podcast.
Jeez. Well, we killed enough time to take a commercial break.
Yeah, let's take a break. And with that, we'll be right back.
I'm going to preheat my oven.
Oh, go, of course.
I don't think he's referencing me.
No, he seemed to go off in the opposite direction. So I was like, oh,
Logan's oven. You weren't my oven. All right.
And we're back.
You know, there's nothing like you and me killing time for an episode in which I felt as though they were just killing time for NBC.
Yeah, we've done different things with all of our clip show episodes. We made fake clips in one episode. I forget what we did in the other ones.
Oh,
but this one we're like giving you, the listener, the experience of what we felt while watching.
It's just a waste of time. Oh, by the way, Roy Moore is now leading by 10 points. I know that's a surprise to you. Huh?
Interesting. I'm going to Twitter right now.
Yeah, he's up by 10 points. Only about 25% counted, but he's up by 10 points now.
I think because rural areas can be counted faster, perhaps?
I don't know. I think because he's going to win.
We'll see. I mean,
sure.
By the time this episode comes out, 2 days from now, we're really messing up the timeline as you're listening.
You're right. He could be both elected and not seated within the next 48 hours. Who knows?
Oh my God, he's Schrodinger's pedophile.
Wow. So I realized when they started the second episode, and of course I'm watching it on Amazon, so they have to run the credits for the second episode. And I'm aware that the show ran as either a supersized episode or as an hour-long episode. But when they ran the opening credits, I thought to myself, well, the opening credits are practically a clip show. Why didn't they just put the opening credits on a loop and save themselves a shit ton of money?
That would have been amazing if it were because they have YouTube videos where they do that now, where it's like 10 hours of just a song.
Mm-hmm.
That would be amazing. I would watch that.
Play it over and over again. It's like the opening credits times 22. And we got a show. There we go.
And those are definitely the best clips from the whole series, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Because we go right into Skippy visiting, and Skippy shows up at the house, and then we're just going to go into a whole bunch of Skippy clips.
Yeah. I want to say about this particular clip show is the fact that Michael J. Fox's hair is awful. Because in going back to past seasons, his hair was gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like someone's mom, where I'm like, get your hair cut. It's too long. You look terrible.
It was neat, and then he gets real mullety.
Oh, so mullety. Like, he looks like he's in Bright Lights Big City at this point.
And then right at the end of the scene with the Skippy visit, he actually says my favorite line in the whole thing, and I really want to honor the writer that she actually, and it was a female writer according to the credit, and she actually put this sentence into Alex P. Keaton's mouth. Are we ever even going to talk about me?
You know what that reminds me of? Maggie Haberman et al. Of the New York Times just this past weekend did an expose on, a day in the life in the trenches of the White House.
I thought that was a fascinating article. I thought it was a terrific article.
Wowie wow. There are so many things going on right now in that article that I could not believe.
Just the minutia of the whole day. And the fact that they talked to, what was it, somewhere 30, 50, 60 people.
60 people.
60 people, and it was all off the record, so they could say anything they wanted. No, they weren't quoting anybody. They were just going with the numbers here. Let's see if everybody says something, and then we'll report it.
But the one thing that sticks out, and the reason I brought this up, is the fact that he loves seeing his name in print, and if it's not there often enough, he'll make some news so that way he can see his name on the TV and in the papers.
He's 71 years old, and he truly has the impulses of a 4-year-old.
Of an Alex P. Keaton.
Alex P. Keaton. Are we even ever going to talk about me?
Yeah.
That and the fact that they make an effort to get him in the office by 9 or 9:30. He's the fucking president of the United States.
I've never empathized with a president more of having to be pulled into the office at 9:30.
It's like, wow, they urge him to get to the office between 9 and 9:30.
Good God.
Oh my God. And then the other stuff about he hate watches Don Lemon.
I mean, don't we all?
Really? But it doesn't enrage me as much as it obviously enrages him because it sets him off to Twitter.
Yeah.
But I hate watching Wolf Blitzer myself.
Oh God, what's there to hate? It's like watching a blackboard.
Oh, it's the worst. I hate his guts. But
yeah, Wolf Blitzer is the worst person on CNN.
Who is Wolf Blitzer?
Yeah.
Oh, I totally agree with you. He is hands down the worst person on CNN, and they give him more airtime than anybody else, other than
Am. But Don Lemon, I'll say this: last year on the New Year's Eve thing, he was there with, I think, Brooke Baldwin, right? And the two of them they're always in New Orleans together. Mm-hmm. And he got so drunk that he was standing on the bar doing shots, and then he said that he was going to get his nipple pierced, and she wouldn't let him do it, so he got his ear pierced on TV.
That's wacky.
Don Lemon, I mean, I didn't like him for a long time, and I still don't, but he's pretty crazy. I love it.
That's crazy, and I think it's fun if Don Lemon and Brooke Baldwin are having fun in New Orleans on New Year's Eve, especially since now we're going to not be able to watch Kathy Griffin anymore. Now we just get, Anderson and who's he going to be? Oh, and Andy Cohen.
Oh gosh, her mortal enemy at this point, right?
Yeah, exactly. But Anderson's got Andy Cohen. He wants a gay boyfriend there, a gay pal in which there's no sexual tension between the two of them.
Right. Now, how many years did you watch the Kathy Griffin Anderson Cooper? I've been doing it for like 5 years now.
I have been watching for quite some time. I spend more time watching them than anything in the past than anything else.
Yeah.
Always found them to be more entertaining than anything, because it would just be watching. I like watching Anderson be embarrassed and giggle.
Yeah. Oh God, when he gets uncomfortable, it's the best.
Because he's so white that anything makes him blush. He looks like a bunny rabbit. All of a sudden, he gets like pink in the face.
He totally does.
He goes from like albino to pink. It's very cute.
Yeah. You know who else I like is that dad that was did the runs through Central Park at midnight or whatever. And he was there with his daughter, who was like 13, and she was like happy to do it. And then she was like, for a couple of years, really uncomfortable, like being there. She's like, ugh. And now she's like a sports reporter or something. Her hair is huge, and she's like, hi, I'm this and that. And her dad is totally old and doesn't get it, and she's super hip.
Yeah, that happens when your dad gets old and doesn't get it anymore.
Oh, Jesus. Can we replace Susanna, Scott with Susanna, and get Logan to come in to replace you?
Yeah, you got to get some new blood in this thing. I'm telling. Yeah, I'm gonna do the whole show like as Eeyore now.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Can't watch this anymore. I'll tell you that much. Nope. I have 0 written down for the rest of the show. I have no idea how it even ended.
We were just talking about, yeah, it's fine. It's good. Here's what they do that is very commendable to Family Ties. We've been talking this whole time about how their clips are so long and awful and boring and imaginativeless. In this, they actually come up with a clip segment where they do fast cuts
at the end of the show,
and there's music behind it.
Yes, it's like almost like a clip montage with music, and it was a little bit more entertaining.
Yeah, they did some work. So I will applaud this clip show as being the best clip show we've come across in our viewings.
I will tell you, of the shows that have been abused by their networks, and this is certainly one of the shows that was abused by its network. I think now, like, we're in like season 8 of Modern Family, and it's definitely showing its wear and tear. Do you watch it anymore? Have you ever watched it?
I never watched it.
It definitely it shows its wear and tear. It was a consistently funny show for many, many years, and I just think at a certain point they simply run out of gas.
Yeah.
I think it's an inevitable thing in sitcom. Shows like Friends that ran for 11 years. That's just amazing to me that they were able to write gags for 11 years for these characters, because so many of the beats are repetitive, and you're just going backwards in time, and you get lost in your own mythology. And it's just, I watch Modern Family now, and I just think, wow, these stories are so creaky. They're creaky and they're uncomfortable, and I've seen it before. And this is sort of how I feel in season 6 of Family Ties, where it's very repetitive.
Yes, and that's what we were saying earlier this season, is that we're starting to see a lot of episodes themselves be recycled, and this is another example of that. Not just a clip show that is literally recycling old clips. But the fact that the show that the interstitial stuff that ties it all together is a recycled plot.
It too. So everything is just recycled. The whole thing is just repetitive and just awful. It's just awful.
Yeah.
I'm glad that the actors get nice residual checks from all of them. God bless them.
Yeah, I'm glad for that. I'm glad that everyone's getting paid for this nice. I think this was the Christmas episode, wasn't it?
I think so. I think this was an hour long, which gave the actors the week off. I guess gave my hiatus week.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. This is another good moment. Tell Scott to tune in right here. Whatever time check this right now.
This is where Scott would have said something interesting, right. And it's sad that he.
And I'm glad you said interesting and not funny as I go with my running joke.
Have we ever told the story on here of when we were going to Vegas and Scott was coming to pick us up in the car, and we pulled out the phone book and I started reading it, and everyone was laughing to show how funny I was compared to Scott.
Compared to Scott, who could be reading verbatim the script of The Odd Couple and butcher a few lines and just get me pissed. Hey, Scott. There are community theaters that are able to make Oscar and Felix funny. How come you can't?
You know what? At this point, I think Scott and I could play those two guys.
Well, we could.
Age-wise, we're old enough.
I think you'd be a very funny Felix, actually.
Yeah, I think so. I think I would be fastidious enough.
Yeah, it's a good play. Neil Simon. Speaking of dementia.
Yeah, I was talking about him a couple days ago. He does have dementia or something, right?
Advanced stage. I mean, sometime soon he's going to go. If you're in that in one of those death pools, I say go with Neil Simon. I think that's a good bet.
No one's thinking of him.
That's it. He's going to fall through the cracks. Everyone's forgotten. Most people think he's dead already. He's not. go with Neil Simon. Put your money. Go to Vegas. And you do that in Vegas. You can put money on people to die in Vegas. Go to Vegas. Put money on Neil Simon.
Yeah.
He has great odds because he's in his 90s, but
no, he led a good life.
Yeah, you're better off going with somebody like you go with like one of the kids from I don't want to say one of the kids, somebody from go with Rick Santorum. He's a young man. You don't expect Rick Santorum to die in the near future.
With the higher odds?
Absolutely, you get much better odds, and it wouldn't disturb me if Rick Santorum died. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it'll be sad when Neil Simon goes.
Right, because it's Neil Simon, although I heard he was a horrible human being, too, that he was a nasty, bitter human being.
Why? What happened?
Just late in life, he became very nasty and bitter, very angry.
Was it because he kept forgetting things?
I wonder if that's it. He can start to become very irritable. My mother's got dementia now, which, if don't act sad, I can't stand the lady. And I know I seem like a horrible human being. Lord knows I've got no family to be listening to this, so I really don't care. But my mother can't remember things. Like, she keeps on asking me, and I can only laugh because if I don't laugh, I'll cry. But she keeps on asking me, do I know, my brother's name is Larry. She keeps on asking, do you know a Mr. Larry Pepper? I went, oddly enough, I do. Your other son, so oddly enough. Now, I haven't met him very many times, and I would always go, that's where I bet you differ with you. I think you've met him a shit ton of times, Mom. Because you're his mother. So therefore, you do know a Mr. Larry Pepper. And then she'll talk to Larry 4 times a day, and she knows him when she's talking to him. But it's when she's talking to me, she doesn't know who Larry Pepper is.
That's so interesting.
And I asked, I said, Larry, does she know who I am? Because she's been calling me Larry, too. She hasn't called me Corey in months now, in 6, maybe 8 months. She only calls me by Larry's name. So I asked Larry, when you're talking to her, does she ever call you Corey? I thought maybe she made – no, she calls me Larry, too, but she calls you Corey. She talks about you all the time, and she calls you by name when she talks about you. And I said, yeah, but never to my face. To my face, I'm always Larry.
Oh, man. This has levels of sad.
Nah, not really. Don't trust me. She's a nasty old coot.
No, but it's funny because your brother's a doctor, and she keeps like negging him, where she's like, "Mister."
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, hey, he didn't go to You didn't send him to medical school to be called Mister. I never even thought of that. He's a doctor. For God's sake, have some respect. Call him Doctor Larry Pepper. Oh Lord!
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Did she have any issues with the fires or anything? Where's she?
No, she's 5 minutes away from me, but I just no, she had no issues with it. She hasn't been outside in a year.
Oh wow.
She's not mobile anymore. It's there. It's hard. It's sad. It's sad.
Sure. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It is what it is. Can I tell you?
It's a crazy life.
It is.
As Ricky Martin once said.
What did he say? He said something about it being La Vida Loca, didn't he?
Right. That means crazy life, right?
That's it. Good. Oh boy, Scott, we really miss you. I'm so sorry. What are you doing tonight? Are you doing the kitchen? Are you cleaning the kitchen? Is it dishes?
Me?
No, Scott. What do you think Scott's doing? Is he house husbanding tonight?
Corey, I'm Paul.
Yes. I'm asking what you think Scott's doing. I just want to speculate. Like we're gonna.
No, I thought you were. I was trying to pretend that you were like.
Oh, my mother. Yes. Hey, Scott, what are you doing tonight? You went to the gym already. Was this
yeah,
did you do cardio or what'd you do at the gym?
I did weightlifting. Can't you tell?
It's a little hard because of your new Army Navy jacket.
Well, no, this is a suit jacket. I'm wearing
a suit jacket. Is that a turtleneck you're wearing?
No, it's just a black shirt.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Good because I had a manager when I first moved to New York, an acting manager, and she once said to me, "I'm going to give you a little fashion secret." She was very Jewish.
Okay.
I said, "What's the?" She goes, "The only people who should wear turtlenecks are turtles."
Oh shit! Were you wearing a turtleneck?
Of course I was.
Oh man!
I wear a turtleneck and a sport jacket. I thought I looked cool.
You probably look like that scientist
But-
that did Cosmos Carlson.
She's right.
She was. That's right. She told Susanna to get her teeth fixed, which she did.
Okay.
And she told me never to wear a turtleneck, and I've never had a turtleneck in my whole life. I've never worn another turtleneck.
Wow. Well, you live in California. I mean, you can get away without the turtleneck.
Yeah.
So she represented both you and Susanna.
Did she represent you? No, she never took you on, did she? No, she just interviewed Susanna and told her to get.
That's just based on my picture.
Oh, just based on your picture? Oh, okay.
I met with this manager before I left California, and he was the guy who discovered, or first represented David. Who's the guy that just died?
David
from the Partridge Family.
Oh, Cassidy.
And he told me to get my teeth fixed. So.
What
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, they used to be crooked. So.
And now you got them fixed? What'd you have? Did you have like Invisalign or braces?
I did Invisalign. Well, I was doing Invisalign when we started the show back a couple years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
When we started this show?
This particular show, yeah. If you listen closely, there's a little lisp.
Did we ever do like a show in which your Invisalign was in?
Yes. I was saying United States. Just like president.
Like President Trump.
Exactly.
I didn't hear that whole clip until recently when I realized, oh, his dentures were slipping the whole time. It wasn't like he was having a stroke.
I don't know. He sounded kind of drugged to me. I mean, the energy was not normal energy.
Well, his energy is very subdued if it's not something in which he can riff on. You know, his energy is always subdued if it's scripted.
Yeah, he's kind of sulking.
Yeah, he is. Like, I'm pissed off that I can't do my thing.
Yeah.
Because he's such a magnificent extemporaneous speaker.
Well, before, do you have anything else that you would like to discuss?
Hell, I don't have anything that we already did.
Any movies that you want to recommend before we go away?
Have I seen anything? I haven't.
No.
I haven't seen anything. I want to see Lady Bird real bad. Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't had a chance to see it yet.
That's the one I want to see real bad. Want to see The Shape of Water real badly.
I haven't even heard of that one. What's that?
Well, that's the Guillermo del Toro movie that's going to get a lot of SAG Award nominations when it comes out tomorrow or Thursday, whenever they come in.
Oh, cool. You know what I just watched? Logan. I told you, because you don't like the superhero thing.
No, I don't. And how you liked it, though? Huh?
I really liked it, yeah. It's the reason I'm wearing a suit jacket now, because he looked so hot. He had like this beard that was long, and then he has like a suit and a shirt that's open. And it's, man, he's just a good-looking dude.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman, I have no complaints.
Yeah.
He's eye candy to this old man.
But honestly, it's like if you like Unforgiven or that sort of like grizzled Western type thing, that's pretty much the plot of this. So.
Yeah, except he's got blades on his fingers, and I can't deal with that.
Well, that's the trade-off, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm rewatching the OJ documentary again because I'm weird.
Which one? The ESPN one? Yeah, that's the one. That's the documentary. The other one is scripted.
Yeah, the 8-hour documentary about OJ. I'm watching it for the third time now.
Good. Maybe I can get you the Showa, the boxed set for Christmas.
I haven't seen that yet. Maybe I'll watch it.
I'm sure you'll enjoy that. You can watch that a few times over too. There's nothing like watching the Holocaust over and over again.
Well, gang, this has been an episode of Quality Time with Family Time.
This is one for the books.
It really is, because people should read a book as opposed to listening to this particular episode.
We got through this episode without either of us writing notes, and that is remarkable.
Yeah, you really see what happens when we don't do that.
Come back, Scott.
Yes, yeah, come back, Scotty, come home.
Yeah, maybe he'll be back next week. I don't know. The holidays are coming up. It's going to be.
I'm having oral surgery next week. We'll talk afterwards about my schedule.
No, wait. There could be more time. Corey, so what's going on? What?
I had a tooth that broke in my mouth, and they have to take it out, and I have to get an implant, but they have to take it out first. So.
Of course.
I'm not in any pain at all, but I will be once I have the surgery.
Where is it? Where is it in your mouth? Front or back?
Here on the bottom.
Oh, geez. Are they going to give you pain pills?
Oh, they're putting pain pills. They're putting me out.
Wow.
I'm under anesthesia.
Holy shit.
Oh, propofol.
Propofol, but that's a general
No,
anesthetic.
Generally, you have to be in a.
Oh yeah, they're giving me propofol. They're just giving me something. No, they're gonna knock me out. Takes 15 minutes.
Deep and lovely twilight.
I'll be in sleep for 15 minutes, and then I'll wake up and bleed for the rest of the day. And so that's it.
Holy shit.
I probably won't be able to talk very well. I'll have like my mouth packed for a couple of days.
How is that different than any other episode? I'm sure.
You know what? What could be more entertaining than me being on painkillers doing this?
I would love that.
Yeah, I know you would.
No, I mean, I would love the painkillers, is what I'm saying.
I've got Tylenol with codeine coming my way.
Oh, lovely. All right. So, rate and review our show on iTunes. For questions and comments, email us at qualitytimewithfamilyties@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at QTWFT. For updates, you can follow each of us. I'm at Paul Packler.
I'm at Corpep, and Scott is off the deep end.
And you could like our page on Facebook. We'd like to thank our host and producer, Barbara Dillon, at Fanbase Press. Fanbase Press is a comic book publisher and online community supporting creators and fans through daily reviews, interviews, and podcasts that span the pop culture spectrum. Check them out at fanbasepress.com. We'd like to thank Perry Adams, who beautifully performs Family Ties and our theme song Without Us. Check out Perry's website, perryadams.com. We'd like to thank Bryant Dillon, who created our fantastic drawing and artwork, as well as edits our show. Bryant is the president and co-founder of Fanbase Press. Follow him on Twitter at Comic Book Slayer. Finally, we'd like to thank Sean Foster, Fanbase Press's graphic designer, for designing our logo. Gang, we'll see you next week.
Shalom.